Welcome to Creators and Coffee. I am your host, Erica Sietsma, founder and CEO of Autofluencer. And joining me today is another founder, Matt Ryce, who he is both a creator. You may have seen his YouTube channel, DNR Auto, or Facebook or Instagram, or you may have bought products from him through Shitbox Supply, which after being on the site, he realized we need some additional, parts that you can't easily find, components you can't easily find. So they do that through Shipbox, which I love that name, and I just want to say it 20 more times.
That was
Not
100% a branding move. Like
Yeah,
that was a
exactly. Not
marketing move.
safe for kids. Those who know me well know I like a good swear word when used appropriately, though I do not let my son swear, and he is 8, so he's not allowed to. But Matt, welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Like so many other of the people we have on this, I have to ask, do you ever sleep? Like, is that a thing you do, or is that like part of the past?
Sometimes it happens, you know what I mean? I find mostly that I usually try like after trips. So like after a 4 or 5 day or we're out on the road, like I give myself the next day to slowly get back into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's important. You got to take time for yourself to rest and relax. What I love about your background, Matt, and why I wanted to have you on Critters and Coffee is because you've seen both sides of the fences. So not only do are you a successful creator? You've put together brand partnerships. You've been paid, for your social content and your partnership and that access to your audience. But you've also worked with and work with quite a few of the manufacturer space, not just your own company, but others as part of that marketing team. So you've been part of the team that receives those proposals from different influencers, having to come up with that influencer creator strategy. And so your perspective is so great because you've seen it from both sides and can give advice to both sides.
It's kind of cheating.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. I think it's smart, right? As a brand, it helps to have someone that knows both sides and to be able to do it. And so let's start first with what is some advice you have to really the brands and the creators when it comes to building, better, smarter partnerships?
One of the things that comes to mind first is just, understanding that it's a professional relationship.
Mm.
Um, you know, what we're doing is there is an exchange of service for either a dollar amount or for a value of dollar amount. This is as professional as any relationship you could ever get, having a job, whatever the case may be. So knowing that going into it and treating it as such from the manufacturer side, I see a ton of, oh, well, sponsor me or this or that. Like that is not a professional approach to get the things done that you want to get done. Um, so having that, and then also from the manufacturer side, treating creators and influencers professionally. These are people that maybe you don't understand what they did or how they did it or how they communicate with their audience, but treating them with that professional respect that they have accomplished something that you want to be a part of. You may not know how just yet, but it's a street that kind of goes both ways and needs to go both ways.
And I love that. And that's so important. I think a lot of times it's seen as a one-way street where, you know, well, the creator has to do all the work and the brand kind of excludes themselves from a responsibility there once they put together the deal. Especially I see when there's money being exchanged and then the brand feels like, well, I'm done. But there's so much more of that on the brand giving feedback. You mentioned that before is a big one. What else would you say the brand, is some of their responsibilities? Because I think we hear less about that.
The big thing is that first and foremost, I've never entered into a monetary relationship with a brand without some sort of a relationship being present.
Right.
We this is not something you just wake up one day and they're like, oh yeah, we're totally going to give this guy some money to go do this. You typically have a relationship. You have a relationship with the people, the individuals in place in those companies. The big thing is that creators want the support, right? It's wild just how much when a creator does something, like having your team know to look out for it. So if you have a social media team, say, hey, this creator is somebody we work with. We want you to share his posts. We want you to put it in our stories. We want, this person, we want to be proud of this person. We're proud of this relationship. Obviously, we're paying for it. We should be proud of it. And I understand because it's both sides, from the manufacturer standpoint, usually the people who are in these positions or dealing with different creators is usually one of the 45 job tasks that they have to
Okay.
do. So, very, very few companies have dedicated people that have the amount of time that what really should be taken. One company that I worked with in particular, they did an amazing job, and it was probably pre-done like 12 months ahead. They sent me an email every month with, hey, it's been a month, here's some things we'd like you to talk about. Next month, hey, it's been 2 months, here's some content ideas. Hey, it's been 3 months. That is the only company, I've worked with a lot of companies, that is the only one that has ever sent me those kinds of messages. And when you work with somebody like that, it feels like,
Yeah.
they want to have a relationship. It's all relationship based. So the better that works, the better it's going to be for everybody. You're going to find that maybe your contractual agreement was, well, we wanted to have this many videos, this many posts, whatever the case may be. But when you have a good relationship, nobody's going to be counting those numbers anymore. It's just going to happen, and probably more often than what you had originally agreed to.
I love that, and I'm going to write that down. Product feature request, ability for brands to
Yeah.
send monthly updates to their creators with new features. Okay, got that. That really tees us up into, and the next thing that we had talked about before is another one of your tips is looking at how to read the numbers. What numbers do you share? Because there's been an evolution here, and obviously, a reason Autofluencer was started is to make transparency of numbers and make access to that so much easier. So it's not this total guessing game, but not every number is valued or weighted the same, and there's an art to that as well.
Yeah, I mean it's huge because even as you talk across different platforms from YouTube to Facebook to TikTok, the numbers don't weigh the same. They might say the same thing, they might say engagement, but they don't weigh the same. So it's really important, and I think for a long time a lot of companies, just really didn't have an understanding. I think some of that's starting to change now,
Yeah,
but they just saw, oh well, this person has X amount of followers. But that's not necessarily the case. There's other numbers. There's engagement. There's click-through rates. There's a lot of other things that you can be factored in. And then sometimes it's not just about a number either. You may
right.
find that people with different size followings are more specifically targeted to the product or the promotion that you have going on, or whatever the case
Yeah,
is. And the conversion rate may be higher over here than somebody with a larger audience or a smaller audience. It's not just as cut and dry as here's some numbers, look at them. Because at the end of the day, I've done it both sides. The creators are always going to pick the ones that make them look the best, and the brands are always going to pick the ones that look the best, so that when they report up the chain, everybody's happy.
well, there's so many great points there, and one thing that you it got me thinking about is outside of the number, it's kind of that quality and quantity, right? And there's a quality and quantity. And one thing that we're seeing in a feature we recently added that creators can put on their public profiles is the ability to have highlighted links where they can show a link to a piece of content where they've done a brand partnership to show, here's how I tell a story, or here's how I highlight things. Because while we do have a database that the brands can go in and search and can do it DIY, we're early stage. So I do get a lot of our brand partners be like, well, who would you recommend between these three, or what? And, based on their objectives and what they're trying to achieve, if they want someone who's more of a storyteller, it might be like, well, if you look at their content, like this person is the storyteller. This person has cool bitchin' footage from their race, but they're not necessarily a storyteller. This
Right.
person is a storyteller. So because of what you're trying to do, you want a storyteller, I would go with this one. Or and not that I feel like all the creators that are on our platform, like all my kids are like all my favorites. So not that I'm trying to pick favorites by any means, but even as a brand, you might have a great relationship with this particular person. In this instance, they're too much of a storyteller, and that's not what you're going for. Right? There's
Right.
always different, like storytellers aren't always the best when it comes to someone promoting an event, right? So there's different players for everything.
And really, if you break down that word creator, it comes from a creative mind, and we're all doing things our own way. And that is why you work with creators, because
Mhm.
they have the creativity, and that
Yeah.
is what they have built their platforms on. So everyone's style may not be the same, everyone's objectives may not be the same. Some people may excel in short form content but not really in long form. It's not
Yeah.
what they
Yes.
built on. Some people will excel in photography, and they know, their focus is, I want to have the absolute best quality image I possibly can so that I represent these brands well. So it's just finding that individual flair of who you're working with and playing to their strong points, as opposed to just putting them in a box of,
Yeah.
hey, we want X amount of posts.
Exactly. I love that. That's such a good reminder. So, last tip. This one's a bit more for the creators. What's kind of a last tip you have for creators when you get that partnership? You're like, yeah, now what?
The big thing, and I have been personally successful in this, is go above and beyond. If you put yourself in a position with these brands and these manufacturers to where they feel like, man, this creator, this person is really just constantly, providing us value in one way or another, and we
Yeah,
feel like we are not even reciprocating it well enough, you know, it's always gonna put you in a better place. So going above and beyond. If you have a strong suit, if you have something that you do, maybe you're a creator, then, and you, generally all of us creators are involved in video, photography, something of that nature. Take their product and do a photo shoot. Maybe not even involving you directly, but, do a photo shoot of their product. Give them that. Um, Make sure that when you tag these folks, when you make your posts, when you do anything that involves them, or I've recently had a post that did really pretty well. It stood out above the crowd in the reels, and I took that data of that post specifically and sent it to the company that was involved and say, hey, I just wanted you guys to see this. Like, this is an anomaly. This one did way better than the other ones usually do, and you guys were involved in it, so here you go. The more you make it known that you are putting in the effort and trying to go above and beyond, doing things that you can to work for the brand, better off you're going to be.
yeah,
And I know a lot of people like, well, I don't have a this or a that. Pro tip, I'm going to give you going right now. If you go to any track in the country, if you are at a racetrack, doesn't matter, drift, drag, whatever, walk up to one of the photographers, we all know them, hand them a 20 and say, thanks for what you do out here. And I guarantee you're going to end up with more pictures of your car than you normally do, and bam, now you've created a relationship, and now I've got this extra content that I can give to the brands that is a professional quality. No photographer's ever going to say no, and I'm telling you, now that this comes out, they're going to be
yeah.
hopefully it does. Hopefully all the
Yeah, we've
yeah,
had,
hopefully the photographers are getting tipped like crazy now. But I used to do it, and it was crazy. The
yeah,
guys would be so appreciative. They'd be like, "Man, like you take pictures. Why would you pay me?" Like, dude, because I know how it is. And it's
yeah.
amazing. A $120 investment can pay dividends.
For any brands watching, or for drivers that have bigger paid sponsorships, hiring your own media person to focus on you is super helpful. It'll take so much stress off of you. And being organized, we had a great episode with Taylor Haney, who does Formula Drift. And I think that, too, for the brands, pay professional media, or pay the people enough so they can hire professional media. And you will get, especially if you're doing drivers, right? If you're doing drivers, like, come on. In Autofluencer, we just launched for our creators the ability, there are all of those things that Matt was just talking about, to be able to do those reports in seconds, literally seconds, and be able to pull that in. And that's only going to get better with the different types of data you could send. But let's say you're required to only do one post a month. We have a page in the reporting that shows you did three a month, and you can send that, you
Yeah.
can send the stats of the post, stats of how you're doing cumulatively, or you could break it down to just one. So I love that. And we're trying to certainly make that easy, because we certainly agree that through data, the whole industry will get better. And by making some of this information easier to get their hands on, both for the brands to say, and you had mentioned this before, which I loved, Matt, which is, how is the brand going to measure success?
Right.
And that's okay if you're a brand and you haven't thought that through. Advice is, think it through. right? You can't say like, oh, well, we're going to look at sales on our website, but you're doing a one-time campaign, with someone who's got decent engagement, they've got 50,000 followers, you're probably not going to see a ton of sales. And you're only giving them product. Like to see sales, you've got to do a proper, like multi-stage, like a campaign, like you can't do
And
one ad.
that's the thing,
We sold a ton of product in one ad. That rarely happens.
in marketing, the from the business side and the manufacturer side, you guys don't, we don't just put together something and we make one social media post and we just expect all the sales to roll in. This this is a part of, campaigns and long-term processes and things that, okay, we get one hit from here, we get one hit from here, we get one, you know what I mean, and we pull it all together. So identifying how you measure success will not only keep you, uh, and you got to be realistic about it too. You can't, well, we're going to measure success based on the ROI of the ad spend of this one thing. Sometimes it's unrealistic. I see people that, I want to 10x my ROI. Well, you're probably not going to do that. You're not going to do that in the first shot. And chances are the creators that could do it aren't going to do it for what you're paying. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. Well, I love this. Matt, this has been so awesome. I look forward to seeing you hopefully at SEMA. Thank you so much for all the great advice. So, for those quick recap, it's a professional relationship, folks, right? Treat it as such, and it's a give and take on both sides for both the brands and the creators, right? Look at the numbers. The numbers tell a story, and it's different for every platform. So educate yourself on what you're looking for based on what your goals and objectives are. But know that the numbers aren't the only story, right? The type of content, the type of personality you have is also important in picking the right partner. And then for those creators, as you do get those deals, go above and beyond. And this doesn't mean kill yourself for it, right? It doesn't need to be insanely above and beyond, but go that extra mile. Make it easy for the brand to know when you've posted content and you've tagged them. Like YouTube is a great example. YouTube has shit for tagging, right? It's like terrible. So text your brand partner, email like, yo, that YouTube video is live, because they might have missed the story, or they might, like, make sure you're letting them know, share and make it easy, share it, send the link to the YouTube. Because again, the linking, Instagram's terrible. So make it really easy for them to find that.
thank you. Yeah, we're getting ready. So actually, in a couple weeks, I am going to go down with Hot Shot Secret, and it's the Hot Shot Secret Diesel Invasion of No Mercy 15. Which I don't have a diesel, but I do have a diesel turbo on my car. So we are going down there, and it is going to be the first time where this many Hot Shot Secret sponsored drivers and racers from the diesel community are all going to be on the property. Hotshot Secret is sponsoring the 6.0 Index class, so I'll be racing in that. We've got guys in Pro Truck No Time. We've got X275. I mean, we've got just all kinds of guys coming out, and we're hoping to make a really big showing for the diesel industry to kind of show the gas world, like, hey, we caught up.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not just slow pickup trucks anymore. Like, there are guys that can throw down on a radial
Right.
and run the number. So
I love it. I love it. But at some point, we got to do a collab with Hot Shots because obviously the colors match.
yeah, I'm,
So, well,
I'm surprised you weren't sold
I know.
already.
I
Yeah,
feel like we color coordinated here. I love
right.
it.
You walked in, wore green, done.
Done. We're best friends. I knew
Yep.
it. Okay. Well, Matt, thanks so much. And good luck with everything you have coming up. And hopefully see you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.